Hey Huskies, it's Ruben with the Multimedia Lab, and in this video I'm going to introduce you to the exposure triangle. Getting right into it, the triangle is composed of three settings: the shutter speed, the aperture, and the ISO. They each have different purposes and effects, and each affect the brightness or the exposure of an image. The shutter speed is how fast the shutter opens and closes. A faster shutter speed will capture fast action with less motion blur, whereas a slower shutter speed will have more motion blur. For this reason, shooting at a quick shutter speed might be optimal for a sports or active event unless you wanted a certain dramatic effect. The catch is that by quickening the shutter speed, you darken the image. The aperture is the size of the opening in the lens, and it determines the depth of field in the image. A large aperture value will maintain focus through a far distance in the image, whereas a lower aperture will offer the image more background blur and bokeh. Depending on the aesthetic you're shooting for, you'll want to know what aperture to shoot with. If you want to capture a lot of faces in a large area or shoot landscape, then a high aperture value will be nice. However, if you only want to shoot the face of the person speaking and blur everything else, then a lower aperture would be ideal. Similarly to the shutter speed, by raising the aperture, the image darkens. The ISO is used mainly to compensate for the exposure. For instance, if I wanted a quick shutter speed and a deep depth of field, the image would be very dark. By raising the ISO, I could mitigate that to some effect and brighten the image, although the image would get noisier. Typically, you'll want to keep this value low so that the image isn't noisy, and instead find a compromise with the other two settings. And that is the exposure triangle. By raising and lowering the values, the image gets darker or brighter, and the goal is to properly expose the image while keeping the aesthetic you desire. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video helps you understand your camera better.